Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by, and good evening. Thank you for joining SOHU's fourth quarter 2020 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are in the listen-only mode. After management's prepared remarks, there will be a question and answer session. Today's conference call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. I would now like to turn the conference over to your host for today's conference call, Wang Pu, Investor Relations Director of SOHU. Please go ahead.
Thanks, operator. Thank you for joining us today to discuss SOHU's fourth quarter 2020 results. On the call are Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Charles Zhang, CFO Joanna Lü, and Vice President of Finance, James Deng. Also with us today are Chang CEO Dewen Chen and CFO Yaobin Wang. Before management begins their prepared remarks, I would like to remind you of the company's safe harbor statement in connection with today's conference call. Except for the historical information contained herein, the matters discussed on this conference call may contain forward-looking statements. These statements are based on current plans, estimates, and projections, and therefore you should not place undue reliance on them. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. We caution you that a number of important factors could cause actual results to differ materially from those contained in any forward-looking statement. For more information about the potential risks and uncertainties, please refer to the company's filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, including the most recent annual reports on the Form 20-F. Please also be reminded that SOHU's results of operations have been excluded from our results from continuing operations. Retrospective adjustments to the historical statements have been made in order to provide a consistent basis of comparison. Unless indicated otherwise, the results that we talk about are related to continuing operations only. With that, I will now turn the call over to Dr. Charles Zhang. Charles, please proceed.
Thanks, Wang Pu, and thank you to everyone for joining our call. For the fourth quarter of 2020 and for the whole year of 2020, we faced significant challenges with the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic and the uncertain macroeconomic environment. However, with our continuing efforts to innovate products and technology, improve monetization efficiency, and strictly control our budgets, we were able to return to profitability as we recorded net income of $53 million this quarter, which greatly exceeded our previous guidance. For the whole year of 2020, excluding an additional accrual of withholding income tax made by Changyou in the second quarter, we also achieved a profit of $51 million. So for SOHU Media Portal and the video, we continue to focus on generating and distributing real-time and reliable news and premium content, and strengthened our competitiveness and credibility as a mainstream media platform. We consistently upgraded our live broadcasting technology, integrated into the SOHU product matrix, and applied it widely to various content marketing events, which further enhanced the overall value of the SOHU Media Portal and video. Benefiting from our continuous efforts, our brand advertising revenues reached the high end of our previous guidance for Q4. And for Changyou, thanks to the solid performance of some special servers for TLBB PC that were launched during the quarter, the online games business performed well as revenue exceeded the high end of our guidance by a lot, actually. So let me look at the financial numbers. For the fourth quarter of 2020, total revenues, $253 million, up 34% year over year and 60% quarter over quarter. Brand advertising revenues, $42 million, flat year over year and up 2% quarter over quarter. Online game revenues, $196 million, up 49% year over year and 94% quarter over quarter. GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited was $47 million, compared with a net loss of $29 million in the fourth quarter of 2019, and a net loss of $15 million in the third quarter of 2020. Non-GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited was $53 million for Q4, compared with a net loss of $6 million in the fourth quarter of 2019, and a net loss of $7 million in the third quarter of 2020. For the whole year of 2020, total revenues $750 million, up 11% compared with 2019. Brand advertising revenue $147 million, down 16% compared with 2019. Online game revenues $537 million, up 22% compared with 2019. Excluding the impact of additional accrual of withholding income tax recognized by Changyou in the second quarter of 2020, GAAP net income attributable to SOHU.com Limited was $33 million, compared with a net loss of $157 million in 2019. Excluding the impact of the additional accrual of the withholding income tax I've mentioned, non-GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited was $51 million for 2020, compared with the net loss of $128 million in 2019. Now let me go through some of our key businesses. First, Media Portal and SOHU Video. For SOHU Media Portal, in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic and the challenging macroeconomic environment, we continue to innovate our products, upgrade our technology, and keep refining our content distribution features by stimulating content generation and user interaction. We were able to further enhance our credibility by reflecting the attitude and the core values of SOHU. For SOHU Video, in 2020, we continue to execute our twin engine strategy. For long format content, we successfully rolled out new original idol romance content, Well-Intended Love, 奈何报要娶我, Episode 2, and My Dear Lady, 你成功引起我的注意, were both well received by audiences. Thanks to the high quality content and the better operating efficiency, our subscription revenue increased significantly during 2020. Despite delays in shooting new dramas as a result of the outbreak of COVID-19, we currently have several original dramas in our pipeline that will be steadily rolled out in 2021. Most of them were filmed in the later part of 2020. For short form content, the other part of our twin engine strategy, we accelerated the deployment of value live broadcasting in various areas such as medical health. We're glad to see the live streaming technology advancement that we have achieved. We deeply integrated our unique live broadcasting technology such as multi-person microphone relay feature with our products on the SOHU platform and widely expanded the live broadcasting landscape. We proactively apply this advanced technology across various creative activities, including large content marketing events, value live broadcastings, and live e-commerce 带货, enabling users to interact with each other in real time whenever they are. During this past quarter with this live broadcasting technology, we successfully hosted high-end interview like Boss 1+1 and also the e-commerce 带货好物分享 best selections by celebrities, and several traditional flagship events such as the SOHU Fashion Awards and the SOHU Finance Annual Conference. These events not only attracted a lot of attention in real time in terms of content, but also we were able to build even more attraction upwards and also attract advertisers. These events greatly reinforce our brand influence and help to effectively secure high budgets from advertisers. Yeah. Next, let me turn to Changyou. For the fourth quarter of 2020, we launched some special servers for TLBB PC that use a memorable early version of the game for content. We're calling this TLBB Vintage, and thanks to its exceptional performance, online game revenue exceeded the high end of our guidance. For PC games, TLBB Vintage helped us to draw back many players that we lost over the years, who loved and still feel nostalgic for their experience from years ago. We were able to build up a lot of excitement around the launch, and the efforts helped to significantly boost in-game spending. Meanwhile, Changyou also upgraded regular TLBB PC by introducing for the first time a capital city map in which players from all servers can interact freely, and redesigning the cross-server clan war system. For mobile games, Changyou launched a new expansion pack for Legacy TLBB Mobile that featured the addition of a new clan and other creative cultural content, all of which helped to keep player engagement stable. Next quarter, Changyou will further optimize TLBB Vintage based on user feedback, and will also unveil a variety of holiday events as well as promotions for the regular TLBB PC and Legacy TLBB Mobile. Currently, several key games are being developed, and we look forward to introducing them to players soon. Looking ahead, Changyou will firmly execute its core strategy of top games. Changyou's strategic focus will continue to be MMORPG mobile games. Well, we are also developing and looking to roll out games across various genres. Now let me turn to our CFO, Joanna, who will walk you through financial results in detail. Joanna.
Thank you, Charles. I will walk you through the key financials of our major segments for the fourth quarter and full year of 2020. All of the numbers that I will mention are all on a non-GAAP basis. So for SOHU Media Portal, quarterly revenues were $24 million, up 7% year-over-year and down 1% quarter-over-quarter. The quarterly operating loss was $28 million, compared with an operating loss of $25 million in the same quarter last year. For full year 2020, SOHU Media Portal revenues were $86 million, down 9% compared with 2019. For full year, net loss was $92 million, compared with an operating loss of $130 million in 2019. For SOHU Video, quarterly revenues were $23 million, up 6% year-over-year and 1% quarter-over-quarter. The quarterly operating loss was $11 million, compared with an operating loss of $18 million in the same quarter last year. For full year 2020, SOHU Video revenues were $91 million, flat with 2019. Full year net loss was $43 million, compared with an operating loss of $94 million in 2019. For Changyou, quarterly revenues, including 17173, $199 million, up 47% year-over-year and 91% quarter-over-quarter. Changyou posted an operating profit of $112 million, compared with $50 million in the same quarter last year. For full year 2020, total revenues $548 million, up 20% compared with 2019. Changyou posted an operating profit of $238 million, compared with an operating profit of $169 million in 2019. For the first quarter of 2021, we expect brand advertising revenues to be between $27 million and $32 million. Online game revenues to be between $137 million and $147 million. Non-GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited to be between $5 million and $15 million, and GAAP net income from continuing operations attributable to SOHU.com Limited to be between $1 million and $11 million.
This forecast reflects SOHU's management's current and preliminary view, which is subject to substantial uncertainty, particularly in view of the potential ongoing impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Lastly, please be reminded that in the Q&A section, we won't take questions regarding any SOGO business updates or the agreements with Tencent for SOGO's privatization. This concludes our prepared remarks. Operator, we would now like to open the call to questions.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. To ask the questions on the phone, you may press *1 and wait for your name to be announced. To cancel your request, you can also press the # or # key. Once again, to ask question, please press *1. There'll be a short silence while questions are being collected. Thank you for your patience. Our first question comes from the line of Eddie Leung from Merrill Lynch. Please go ahead.
Hey, good evening, guys. Thank you for taking my question, and I hope all is well with every one of you. I'm just curious on your outlook for first quarter 2021. Number one, it seems to be a pretty big range, especially on the advertising side. And then number two, when we look at the year-on-year growth on the advertising side, brand advertising, could you talk a little bit about how much is more from an industry rebound, industry recovery, and how much is, broadly speaking, coming from the efforts you have done in the past year? For example, having more rich media, including live streaming in your portal, as well as the offline events you held for your marketers. So these are my two questions. Thank you.
Okay, hi Eddie, this is Charles. Actually the several elements are all contributed to the outlook of the first quarter of 21. Like, first of all, a year ago we had pandemic outbreak, right? So this year it's less, the effect is less. But this year it's both are the first quarter are the slow quarter because of the Chinese New Year, and this 2021 Chinese New Year is actually a little bit later than 2020, right? So these are the negative impact. The less effect of the pandemic is a positive contribution, and the Chinese New Year, and then there is definitely the contribution of our efforts with live broadcasting technology and its application to our various marketing events to create both content and also advertising opportunities for our advertisers to be more interested or excited about the creative events that we are creating. So like this month we are also having this goodies selection e-commerce events, and also around the Chinese New Year we have this live broadcasting programs featuring various programmers, people and the celebrities. So these are all contributing. So it's a number of factors contributed to the outlook of advertising.
And then I don't know whether thank you, Charles. Whether Charles and Joanna can talk about kind of like the big range of the advertising outlook. The reason I ask this question is that I know that most of your advertisers are quality big brands. So I think typically they would have a marketing plan, some type of budgeting, right? So usually the visibility should be pretty good, unlike pure performance-based advertising, right? It seems like this year, especially this quarter, we are looking at a pretty big range in terms of the outlook. 5% to 25% year-on-year, right? So I wonder, why this is a bit larger than usual?
Yeah, just because we have brand advertising on the most part of with most of those top advertisers. So it's like big items, right? So it is kind of if you have a small number of advertisers with instead of like 10,000 or 5,000 advertisers, we have like a few hundred, 100 or dozens. So those and the big one, each one spending a large number. So any change of one advertiser may drive the whole revenue up and down. So it's like, and also the first quarter is a slow season with the Chinese New Year, and decisions made can be kind of changed or something.
Oh, I see. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, to ask question, you can press star 1 and for a name to be announced. The next question comes from the line of Alicia Yap of Citigroup. Please go ahead.
Hi. Good evening, Charles and management. Thanks for taking my questions. I have two questions. First of all, on online games, I wanted to understand the outperformance for these PC TLBB. This was due to the successful release for these special server. Wonder this strength is already reversed, or the strength is actually continue into the first quarter. And just wonder you can share how many the old gamers that you have successfully brought back, and then can you remind us on the deferred schedule for the PC games? How will that actually be benefiting the strength in 4Q? Should that also benefit first Q and also second quarter? And then any expansion pack release planning later this year that you can share? So this is on the gaming. And then second question is related to the overall advertising outlook. I'm not sure Charles or management have any view so far in terms of some of the sentiment that in terms of the ad budget this year versus last year. And then for the fourth quarter, could you also remind us which category actually performed well during the quarter, and which quarter actually has, from your indication, it will have a stronger recovery in 2021? Thank you.
Okay, Alice. So your first question about the online game, the gaming, and about the special servers and the PC, the special server, all the gamers who brought back. Obviously, it contributed most in the Q4, and the trend continued a little bit, but definitely fall back a little bit, right, for Q1. And so maybe Dylan or 就是关于他说是关于这个第四季度怀旧版贡献很大。那么第一季度是不是这个会继续这些老玩家回来以后，会继续能第一季度影响怎么样？然后对，然后再一个就是说有没有关于 PC 版这个的 expansion pack？ 但是他说的 expansion pack 是关于 mobile 还是关于？
是关于 PC 的 ，mobile 也可以，如果有可以分享的话，对，就是未来的几个季度啊。
Yeah， 就是这种怀旧版的对未来几个季度的影响。
OK， 怀旧版因为是非常符合天龙端游的流失用户的需求，所以虽然怀旧版的用户总量没有那个经典版的多，但是都是非常核心的用户，对 UP 值非常高。那从今年 Q1 来看，它的收入会比 Q4会有一个下滑，再叠加上今年过年的 这个因素，我们认为 Q1 的收入会比 Q4 减少。
Hi Alicia, for the TLBB vintage, we call those special servers. The content is welcomed by those hardcore players that we lost over years, like 10 years ago. So the total number of the returning users is not so big, but they are really hardcore, and with the consumption level this quarter is far beyond our expectations. So we expect in the first quarter there will be a natural decline for this TLBB vintage, and also considering the festival traveling factors, so we see the guidance is pretty conservative.
但是 Q1 的游戏在线人数跟去年 Q4 没有下滑，还是稳定的。
But in terms of active players, we see the operating numbers is quite stable currently speaking.
在未来天龙端游的经典版会继续按照原来的节奏和方向去运营，天龙怀旧版会更加往友好社交的方向去运营。
As actually players in two versions are pursuing totally different experiences, so in the future we will apply different updating strategies. For regular TLBB PC, we will make more evolutionary expansions like before. But for vintage, we'll keep the classic content and make some strong social and further updates based on player feedback.
天龙经典版那个 PVP 的元素就是比较强，但是天龙怀旧版我们是希望走那个社交的方向。
For the regular TLBB PC, it's focused more on PVP, player versus player fighting events. But for the TLBB vintage, we will be focusing on more casual, more social things.
我们预计第二季度会推出天龙怀旧版的资料片，谢谢。
We plan to launch the first expansion pack for TLBB vintage in the second quarter of 2021.
Okay. All right. About advertising outlook. So since the total, I think the total macroeconomic situation, I'm not sure, maybe a little bit better than 2020. But since it actually doesn't matter to SOHU because our advertising revenue base is relatively small, so it really depends on how we work, how well we do. So then we'll continue the trend in 2020 because of our development of the live broadcasting technology and live streaming, and apply to various content marketing events and create some value for advertisers, so that we achieve not only recovered from Q1 as the pandemic recede, and Q2 and Q3 and Q4 we actually will achieve the slow growth, and then that trend, I believe that in 2021 we'll continue that slow growth with our strategy of live broadcasting and 带货直播 and all those kind of things and the events. But based on that, and then there's a big if we have we can have our product innovation like our SOHU News app and the SOHU Video app, and innovation so that the user base can grow organically and actually or even have an uptake without heavy spending on pre-installment to devices or online stores. So without channel marketing, basically our strategies really continue to have cost control, basically not much more spending, but through the product innovation, especially our social media feature introduction into our app, and so that we can grow our user base without much additional cost, but grow user base, and the user base grow largely. So then we can grow our revenue faster than the pace that we did in 2020. So it's a big if, depending on whether our product innovation will be successful or not. Thank you. And the categories are mostly auto, right? Auto and FMCG, FMCG, and also e-commerce, basically.
好的，谢谢 Charles。Thank you, Charles.
Thank you for the question. Once again, to ask question, you can still press star 1 for a name to be announced. The next question comes from the line of Thomas Chong of Jefferies. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks management for taking my questions. My question is about advertising as well, but on the video side. Given that we have been seeing the COVID breakout, should we expect there might be a delay in terms of the production timeline or the release timeline for this year? And on that front, how should we see the competition in long-form video advertising versus the short-form video advertising? Are we seeing short-form video advertising actually affects the advertising budget split to our portal and video? And then my follow-up question is about the non-game operating line. If we strip out the gaming business, how should we think about the fundamentals or the operating loss for the non-game business? When should we expect profitability or break even? Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, the advertising for long form. First of all, the production. So the 2020, the first half, we actually, because of the pandemic, we didn't have much filming. And then the later part, we filmed, we produced a few dramas episodes. So now we have, I think we have 5, right? 5 in stock. And we'll be, we're already launched. We already start, one in January, and then we'll have another one. So we have a pipeline of a few dramas lining up for this year, and also we are also producing more. So basically, this year we'll probably have 10, right? 10 dramas, and that actually mostly will drive the subscription business. For advertising, it's our video advertising actually now does not depend that much on our long form drama, because most people subscribe, users, the subscription. So subscribers do not see advertising, right? So our video advertising are mostly depend on some of our it depends on they do advertise on of our variety shows, right? Variety shows, and also some of the live broadcasting events and the short form. So SOHU Video also have this twin strategy. So we are actually actively developing this social media type of short form video. So you will see, first of all, so you basically will see a few, about 10 dramas this year, and then we'll continue to drive our subscription business growth, and advertising will not depend on that much on the production of long form drama, but on some variety shows and also short form and live streaming events. So we'll see a gradual, continued slow growth of our advertising, and also I think a strong growth of subscription. Non-game business, when will we break even? And that also depends on what I just said. Is first of all, with the current in the last 2 years, we've been able to effectively to cut costs almost like by half, right? So that the media platform basically now had a quarterly loss like around or even below $40 million a quarter. And that's why with the game uptake, with the game, we can achieve profitability. Looking forward, we hope that the innovation and the product innovation in this not only in the editorial distribution of content, and also algorithm or the recommendation distribution, and also the third one is most important one is the social media distribution. So if we can achieve that, and basically we can achieve our product user base without much spending, basically through product innovation, so that through form attraction and then user growth, then our advertising and both advertising and the subscription business will grow much faster, and that will determine when we will break even with the media business, non-game business. And but that is really depend on. So when we talk about innovate technology to innovate, we're not just talking generally speaking innovation and product innovation. We really mean it, and we really mean it. And it's very detailed user experience, and also the product design and development. So it's really we're working, and we hope that we'll be successful. And I hope the turning point for the product uptake is really this year.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Our next question comes from the line of John Xu of Emerald Jason. Please go ahead.
Hi, Charles and management. Thanks a lot for letting me ask my question, and congratulations for a strong quarter. My question relates, I know you're not allowed to comment much on SOHU. I just want to pick your brains on a hypothetical case. In case the deal goes through and you receive the cash allocation, just wondering, how are you thinking about the future investments in terms of a breakdown? What are the specific projects you are planning to allocate to, just to give, I think, the investors an idea?
Well, hypothetically, if we have the cash, we can do both. So now without the cash, we can only grow our products and user base by organic, by product innovation with new features. And then with more cash, we can do both. We can do marketing and pre-installment, so that our user base can grow faster. And also definitely in terms of the product innovation, we definitely can get into more areas like delivering news and content and explore its AI enabled and voice, and also so there's more features, more so that definitely now we are basically assuming that do everything because in such a last 2 years experience, we are really improve the operation efficiency, so that we try to do things with a low budget, and so we hope that we'll continue this. Basically assuming that we always assuming that we don't have the money, and then we will just really work on product innovation and spend less on the the pre-installment or app stores and all those things, and really to see whether the product itself can attract and users.
I see. And still, just based upon that hypothetical scenario, I was wondering in terms of M&A acquisitions and potentially maybe a special dividend or dividend policy, has your outlook on these kind of things changed over the last few months? And how are you thinking about these type of allocations?
Well, I think we are quite conservative, so we will only think about those things when we have the money.
Okay. And just the last question for me is, in terms of the innovation projects that you're pursuing, maybe can you help us understand a bit more? What's the progress here? What kind of team are you building? Are you hiring some new people to help with the progress?
It's more of the current team, basically promotion of the people, a member of the team, to really the good one, to rise to the tasks, and basically, and then it's more also an organic process instead of just set up a new department. It's So it's product innovation and development is really something very, very detailed and very daily work instead of. So we're hiring more people, but we're also we're getting we're just gradually evolve the team, and and then the product side, basically, as I said, we focus on these three: distribution of content, delivery of content, basically editorial, algorithm, and social media, social network, and then we focus more on social network side aspects, and also with social networking, social media aspects with this 4G or 5G era, so that we are looking at more of a video or the video streaming type of video type of content, and also to wove the video content and live streaming content into our social networking network product.
Got it. Thank you very much, Charles.
Thank you for the questions, ladies and gentlemen. With that concludes the conference for today. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect your lines.